Welcome to Tentative Title with Tim. This is a podcast about creativity, about process, about filmmaking, and about screenwriting. Welcome everybody to the show. So on today's topic, I wanted to celebrate a milestone of having the 10th episode of Tentative Title with Tim. Now, it's not much in terms of other podcasters, but 10 it can be a lot. And especially doing a podcast every week when you haven't done a podcast ever, it's a lot. And so I just wanted to celebrate. I wanted to put it out there that I've actually, made it to 10, and this is great. And I hope that I will do more and get better at this and to do more, basically. But that brings me to my topic of milestones. Now, milestones are very important to have as a creative person who's ambitious, who wants to make it up the rungs of the different industries and get to the top where you can call your own shots and do all the work that you've wanted to do and tell the stories that you've wanted to tell. All of those things are important. All of those things are great to aspire to. But what happens when a milestone gets in the way of reaching any kind of success, or with being happy with the success that you already have? I want to talk about the negative side effects of having milestones that block you from appreciating where you are now in your creative life, with the things that you are involved with now, with what you've achieved. It can stop you from being happy with where you are. Now, there's a middle ground there, because the reason why you set those milestones was because you had a plan in place. You wanted to direct that film or write that film by a certain age. You wanted to work with so-and-so within the first 5 years of being in the industry. You wanted to earn a certain amount of money within a certain time frame. All of those things possibly drove your ambition to work and work and work and work to try to get to those milestones. And maybe you made them. Maybe you made it to that point. And I guarantee that the reality of what you thought those milestones were going to be is much different than what they actually are. So I wanted to talk about that because I think that I had some milestones apart from, reaching the 10th episode of this. But I had some milestones at the beginning of wanting to be a filmmaker. And I think that I don't need them anymore, because we're living in a different world. And even though I had reached certain milestones that I had set up for myself, I don't think that it was the proper thing for me to do, because it put so much pressure on myself, needless pressure, to do stuff when I wasn't ready, or to kind of just make some really bad choices about what it is and where I wanted to go. It was also because I think that I was basing the milestones of I want to get to a certain point in my career and by a certain age based on the success stories of great filmmakers that had come before me. And feeling like I was a failure when I didn't actually reach that same point at the age that they were when they made it. Especially in terms of like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg and Francis Ford Coppola and Martin Scorsese. Like all of those filmmakers who are considered to be a generation of great filmmakers made it when they were fairly young. But it was a different world then. And it was a chance, they had opportunities that that I don't have, but it was also opportunities in which they went after that maybe I could have gone out after as well. But there's no way to tell because, it was at a different time and there were different opportunities presented, and they were way more ambitious than I was. So to have this comparison of these like unnecessary milestones to reach a certain point in my career, especially in a creative career, is just insane. So that made me think about that I think a lot of people have this notion that the world hasn't changed and that they can become these great artists and filmmakers at an early age, and maybe they have the talent to do it, but it's a completely different world now. And it's an even more different world because of the pandemic. And all of us are stuck in whatever milestones we might have had for ourselves have all come to a screeching halt. And what are we going to do now? Those ideas about who we want it to be might not happen. We don't know how long this is going to be. And I don't want to cry wolf or anything, but it's going to probably be a little while before we can even consider our lives on set to be normal again. So what does that mean? Like, I had all these ambitions, all these milestones I wanted to hit by a certain age. Like, what do I do now? Well, here's where the negativity of having the milestones stop us from achieving, or I shouldn't say that. I should say from us adapting to our situation. Because now all of us are adapting. And so at this point, it's actually more important to create work or to rethink how we create work than it is to have this blind ambition to make great work. Now, I've gone through the same process in these past like 4 or 5 months where I couldn't bear writing. I mean, I still write, I still journal. I was working on a couple feature scripts at the beginning of the year, and I'd finished those, and I'd done some drafts on those. But most of the time that I've been in this lockdown for the pandemic, it's been extremely hard to justify being creative. At least being creative in a writing sense, because it seems like there's so much more going on in the world than this made-up world that I want to create, and maybe it'll get filmed someday. Who knows? And even then, it's should I start to write things that are considered to be pandemic friendly, I guess you could say, or to be to be the production ready for, for COVID, for those standards. Because by the time I actually write something, we may be out of this thing and it may not be relevant anymore. But then on the other hand, it's important to create work no matter what. It's important to let our imaginations run free and to allow us some relief from the world every once in a while. Like, those things are still important, and to unplug from the world a little bit and allow ourselves to just be creative. So where do the milestones, like, where are they now? Like, they're gone. Like, especially in terms of, like, the film industry. So it's more important now just to be happy with where we are, with the successes we've had in the past, and to hope for more success in the future, and maybe plan to go forward to have other tiers that you're working towards, and still having that ambition to create. And people are adapting to this, and as all artists do, we adapt to the current situation, no matter how tough it may be. Everybody will adapt. So what is what does that world of success look like? Like, I don't know. I just know that, like, the people who I guess are so who are, like, winning, I guess you could say, are the ones who are continuing to just be, to feel the moment, to feel what it's like to be in this, pandemic, but are also allowing themselves freedom to create and freedom to express what they're feeling without, letting themselves get bogged down with the reality of it all. So even though I'm celebrating the 10th episode of this podcast, and I hope to have many more, and right now this seems to be the only creative thing that I can do right now, I consider this to be a new milestone that will lead to others in the future. And that those may be in trying to have more episodes, or that may be in other areas, or that it may be that trying to get another film going. I don't know. But I know that this is a chance to reset and say, you know what? The past milestones were great, but maybe they were built on unrealistic standards. And now, going forward, I can take it easy on myself, and I can have more realistic milestones, and I don't have to achieve them like I'm running out of time. Because slow and steady, we will all get there. So thank you, everybody, for listening, and I hope everybody's being safe. Wash your hands, wear the masks, social distance, all of that stuff. We will get through this. I believe it, and I believe that we will come out on the other side stronger, more compassionate, more creative, more energized to create great stories that will last for generations. And that's all I got for now. So until the next one, I'll talk to you then.